We are a part of history, you and I, and it's because the government has slipped up royally. They've allowed childminders and babysitters to come to the UK in order to look after your children. What that means is that you, as an individual sitting at home, can call your relatives, all of them, to the UK under the pretense that they will be looking after your children, and there are no other rules or repercussions to it. And if you're sitting abroad, you can come to the UK under the pretense that you're going to be looking after your relatives' children, and there are no other rules or consequences to that. It's really that simple. No, it's not. It's not simple at all. In fact, we're talking about UK immigration law. Nothing is simple in UK immigration law. The moment you hear that something is very simple and easy for you to come to the UK, when you're dealing with UK immigration law, you should see that as an immediate red flag. Just like all these reels that we're seeing nowadays saying, contact us, pay us, and we'll get you to the UK as a babysitter. I'll tell you exactly how it works for an individual coming to the UK and for an employer, and hopefully at some point this misconception will die down and people will stop getting scammed. Now, I'm going to tell you exactly what you need for this visa. However, I'm going to stay away from the term babysitter visa because it's not a babysitter visa. I've said this from day one. There is no such thing as a babysitter visa. It is a skilled worker visa. So we're going to be treating it as though we are treating any other skilled worker visa, which means first thing is first, they need to have an employer who is a company in the UK. And that company needs to be on the register of sponsors and has to pay all the fees and levies that are associated with employing a foreign worker. So it's not just as simple as what's my salary going to be, because that company needs to pay a lot of other fees and levies because they are employing a foreign worker, and that still applies to babysitters and childminders. What about what you're actually going to have to do? What are your duties? We'll read directly off the government page. But of course, you can assume most of the duties that you're going to have to do, we're going to read the others. So there are two in particular that I want to bring to your attention. The first one is maintains appropriate records of the child's development. The second one is complies with regulations set by Ofsted and their inspection requirements. Now, does that sound like something one of your relatives can come here and do? It doesn't, does it? Because it's an actual profession. It's an actual profession relating to an actual industry. And within that industry, there are rules and regulations and requirements, and especially in the UK, there are loads of rules, regulations, and requirements associated with an industry where you're going to be taking care of children. So it's not just that simple. But if you are an employee in that field, feel free to get in contact with me once you have an employer, and I'll be happy to look at your application. Alternatively, if you are an employer within that industry, and now having heard the hype, you understand what kind of demand there is out there, and you need employees who are from abroad, feel free to get in contact with me and we can discuss getting you a sponsorship license.